We are going to work on lab 3, designing a secure network topology. You can read through the description, but overall, the workflow is going to be using a simulation tool which is called GNS3, one of the more popular network simulation tools. And we are going to run the simulator on the V workstation computer. And similar to the other labs, I'm going to work on section 1 of the lab here, and which is divided into two parts. In the first part, we build the network topology using GNS3, and then in the second part, we're going to capture some network traffic and then perform the network connectivity validation. Right, let's get started. We're going to go to section 1, part 1, and we start with GNS3. Let's rename the project. Now the IP address topology for the topology is given here. So all the subnet mask, IP and gateway, the informations are given. We'll refer back to this table for our connectivity setup. First we need to get the devices we want. So from the left hand navigation we are gonna select the V workstation PC1, which is the current computer where we at, and then we also get some virtual computers, which is virtual PCs. Now I also want to organize the computer similar to how they have done in the lab. So we need PC 2, 3 and 4 side by side. And I'm gonna rename this to PC4. Okay. Next, you can also obviously right click and then change host name as they have suggested. So either way is fine. Now we need to select some switches. Pay very close attention to the type of switch you select, because there are multiple types, and especially when you go to section 2 or section 3, you may have to choose a different type of switch. So please pay close attention. I'm going to select the switch option, and now we are going to select the Ethernet switch. This is going to be this one, and we get another one for here. After we get the switch, we can go inside the switch, double click, and the switch has a bunch of ports 0 through 7. That means we got a total of 8 ports, and we don't need all of them. So I'm going to delete some of those. So I'll keep 0, 1 and 2. Now finally we need a router, which is the pfSense router. We bring it here and we are done. Now if we click here, like hover the cursor, not click, we can see the configuration for that particular device, and we'll go ahead and start the simulation. So clicking the play button is going to actually turn on the devices. Now the next step is to connect the devices using a physical link. So we go select that, and then which interface, EM-1, and we select, I think it's going to be Ethernet 0, and then we follow this table to make the rest of the connections. You have to choose the correct port, so be careful when you do this. EM2 goes to switch 2. Alright, we are done with all the connections. Next, we have to go to the command prompt within the V workstation computer. You can do that because this is the computer, it's running the simulator. We can actually click the command prompt here and then check the IP configuration. Awesome. So we got the correct IP addresses configured, so we don't need to do anything. Close this, and then we go to PC2. Now because this is a virtual computer, it doesn't have a command prompt, but we can use the console, and they work slightly differently. So your console is going to work differently from a command prompt. You can't use similar commands in both places, by the way. So the syntax is going to be slightly different. Now in PC2, we configured the IP address following the table that's given to us. So that's our IP address. If we go back right here, so PC2, our IP address is 172.30.04, and because the subnet mask is 255.255.255.0, that's equivalent to /24 in the CIDR notation. Then we have the gateway, which is 172.30.0.254, so we type that in. We check whether another computer has the duplicate address or not. So nobody has that. We get the prompt and we save it. Done. Close it, and we're gonna repeat that on the other computers. Go to PC3. Now the next step is to make sure the IP addressing so far is working, our connection is working. So our interconnectivity between PC4 and PC3. So we can ping our PC3 from here, IP address ping. We're already inside the console, so I don't need to close it. And we get a response back. So that means our connectivity is working between PC4 and PC3. Now at this point we are supposed to take a screenshot, so you can take a screenshot here, and this is fine. Now we gotta do the same thing, so let's close that, between PC2 and attempt to ping the view workstation. So you go to PC2. If the prompt takes a while to appear, so just press return or enter on the keyboard and you would be able to type in. And again, we get a response back from PC1 or the view workstation basically. Awesome. Next, we are going to go inside the pfSense router. So go there and console. Now what we want to do first is we want to assign the IP addresses. Right now you can see it doesn't have a whole lot of IP addresses. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. Yeah, this is better. The one land OPT1, it doesn't have any IP addresses yet. So we want to assign IP addresses. Let's go ahead and select 2. Now which one first? LAN EM1. Why is this here? Because your router's interface, pay attention, this is what's explained here. The router's interface is the default gateway for that network. So looking at this network right here, for V workstation, which is our PC1 and PC2, for them the default gateway is the interface, which is right here, that's going to the pfSense router. So this interface right here is going to be the default gateway for those computers. Same thing for PC3 and 4. For them, the default gateway is going to be that interface. Okay, so let's go back. Now then we are being asked for the subnet mask, which is 24th, and then again enter, and no DHCP, so no, and we are done. Now at this point you should be able to see 172.30.0.254/24 assigned for the LAN interface. Now we're going to do the same thing for the OPT1 interface. So let's select 2. Now after we configured both interfaces, you are supposed to take a screenshot. Next, you're supposed to go to Google Chrome and then see if we can access the pfSense router's interface using our web browser. So previously we were using the console for the router. This is another way to access the interface because it comes with a nice graphical user interface and we get the interface. Awesome. Now very important, if at this point if you cannot access this IP address and cannot access this web interface, that means you made a mistake in one of those places. Either your IP address configuration were incorrect or one of the connections you created between the computers that was incorrect. So please go back and double check or restart. So you gotta make sure the network topology is right before you start moving forward. Now after we come here, we will go to the pfSense menu and we'll choose the LAN interface. We'll call it description LAN 1 and save. Apply changes. We are done. So we'll have to do the same thing for the OPT interface and we'll call it LAN 2. Next, we'll access the firewall menu and go to rules and choose LAN 1. These are the current firewall rules that are already here, and we can also verify the LAN 2 tables that's right here. So the action is pass. That means we are trying to pass traffic. We want to allow traffic to go through the firewall, and protocol will select any. That means we are allowing all firewall traffic. Now in terms of where the traffic is coming from, you can choose LAN to net. That means any traffic that's coming from LAN to net. And if you are not changing destination, that means we are any traffic, incoming traffic from LAN 2, they should be allowed to pass through the firewall. Now if you have modified those, click save. You can see verify what's going on. So we are allowing all IP version 4 traffic from LAN 2, and the destination and port they could be anything. So that's why the wildcard mask or star, and that's all. So we click apply changes. We're gonna go to the GNS3 window from PC4. So let's go to PC4 and console. And again, if you don't see anything, press enter. You should be able to see the prompt. And we get a successful ping, right? So we are able to go from this LAN from the right hand side. We are able to go from our PC4 to this IP address 172.30.02, which is our V workstation. That means the router is allowing traffic to pass from the right hand side network to the left hand side. Yes, let's take a screenshot and we are done. And that's the end of our part 1. Now let's go to part 2. For this part, we're going to start capturing packets using a tool called Wireshark. You should have already used Wireshark in the previous labs. You can do it in two different ways. You could either go inside the computer and run Wireshark, or you can actually select a link in GNS3. It makes it easy, and then start capture. So that's gonna start the capture for that link. So it's gonna be a much easier way to launch it. It says right click the link between switch 1 and pfSense router. So we right click here and then start capture. So capture is already going on. At this point, we will go to PC2 console. And when that happens, you see we captured one ARP packet and it's asking, if you check, you want to see the details for that packet, you can select and the details are visible here. You can even expand and see what's going on inside the traffic. Now this is an ARP protocol and ARP is used to identify which host has which IP address, because the switch can't read IP addresses, right? So switches can only read MAC addresses. That's why you can see the info who has 172.30.02. We are gonna ping 172.30.12. For PC2 and PC3, we get more R packets or also ICMP packets are going on. So these are for the ping. Okay. Next, we are going to go back to the pfSense browser. And this is a land rule table. We are going to modify the rule and change the protocol from any to TCP. So we modify this. Okay. And apply the changes. Now, so look at this. The protocol is IP version 4 TCP. That means you are only going to allow TCP protocol, basically blocking all other protocols. Let's see if that happens. So we're going to go back to the GNS3 topology and go to PC3 and console and we'll ping. Now we were only captured the ARP packet, right? But no ICMP ping. You can also try pinging the next one. And as we predicted right here, the ping request is timed out because right now your firewall is blocking those packets. So it says right here, pfSense does not route all communication to LAN 2 using ICMP protocol. So we are supposed to take a screenshot of this blocked out, like the timeout request. So capture that. We are supposed to repeat the steps and change the protocol to block any. So let's go back there. So again, allowing all protocols. The PC3. can actually start a new capture. I think that would be better to monitor traffic. And we go back to PC3, ping. Now it says Wireshark now display new ARP and ICMP packets. And exactly we got ICMP as well as ARP packets. So take a screenshot. Done. So that's gonna be the end of our section 1. We observed the basic connectivity, and we also learned how to set up firewall rules within the router, how to block certain protocols, and how to also capture those packets using Wireshark. Hope this was helpful, and you should be able to progress to section 2 right now. Thank you.